sentence you for the term of the rest of your natural life.
It's been over a month since the disbarred Lowcountry attorney Alec Murdaugh was sentenced to 2 life sentences for the murders of his wife and youngest son. And now we're learning new details about his life behind bars. Murdaugh's defense attorney Jim Griffin reveals that his client was a, quote, celebrity of sorts when he entered. He is being held in protective custody, but Griffin says that Murdaugh wants to be moved to the general population. Currently, his pod includes convicted sex offenders, of which Murdaugh is reportedly avoiding. Now, what's really interesting is that he says that absolute strangers have sent hundreds of dollars to Murdaugh in prison.
Today in a Pittsburgh federal court, jury selection began for the trial of a man accused of shooting and killing 11 Jewish worshipers at the Tree of Life Synagogue back in 2018. Robert G. Bowers is charged with 63 counts, including 11 counts of hate crimes resulting in death. Prosecutors are expected to tell jurors about statements that Bowers made to investigators. They will also show them a lengthy online history of hate remarks. That's all in part to demonstrate that the attack was motivated by religious hatred. In addition to the 11 deaths, another 7 people were injured, including 5 police officers.
The former Minnesota police officer who killed Dante Wright was released from prison today. Kimberly Potter served only 16 months of her 2-year sentence for fatally shooting the unarmed 20-year-old during a traffic stop back in 2021. Potter says that she mistook her gun for a taser. And during her trial, she apologized, saying that she never meant to hurt anybody. Potter will be on supervised release until December when her sentence expires. Meanwhile, Wright's mother says that she is struggling with Potter's release, but his mother says that Potter not being able to serve as a police officer again has given her, quote, a sense of peace.
Turning now to the 2024 presidential race, President Joe Biden could be announcing his re-election bid as soon as this week.
However, recent polls show Americans aren't exactly enthusiastic about a potential rematch between the president and former President Donald Trump. Peter Alexander has the latest.
In the meantime, former Vice President Mike Pence says he will make a decision on whether he is going to enter the race sometime before June. That's the 2024 presidential race. If he does launch a campaign, he would enter an already crowded Republican field. Pence will be running against former President Donald Trump, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley as well.
Attorneys for President Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden are set to meet with the Justice Department this week. And the meeting was allegedly requested by Hunter Biden's legal team. His legal team will talk specifically with the U.S. Attorney for Delaware, David Weiss. Weiss has been overseeing the investigation into the president's son since 2019. It has examined possible crimes related to his taxes and making a false statement about purchasing a gun. Hunter Biden has not been charged with any crimes and has denied wrongdoing.
The United States hit its debt ceiling in January. Since then, the Treasury Department has been keeping the nation financially afloat. President Joe Biden and Speaker Kevin McCarthy remain at odds regarding a solution. Moody's Analytics says a debt ceiling breach could cost the U.S. millions of jobs, creating long-term damage to the economy. McCarthy's bill includes a $1.5 trillion hike to the debt ceiling, but with cuts to domestic spending programs. President Biden says he will only agree to a cut-free proposal.
Still ahead on your news at 4:30, Disney may no longer be the happiest place on earth for some of its employees. How a second round of layoffs are affecting the company.
But first, 2 separate but serious accidents of plane engines catching on fire, now sparking investigations. How a flock of geese forced a plane to land early.
Coming up on your news at 5, a bill in the State House aimed at exempting period products from sales taxes. What this means for South Carolinians' wallets.
Plus, a free grocery delivery program may be coming to certain areas of Columbia. We'll explain how it plans to help those who are struggling with food insecurity.
Just ahead, spending more time on your phone may have negative effects on your mental health. We've been hearing that a lot lately. The age group most affected by this social media surge.
Plus, Meta has announced yet another round of layoffs. That's Facebook's parent company. How a company reorganization led to thousands of people being without jobs. Coming up in your news at 5:30, a standout witness in the Alec Murdaugh double murder trial now answering questions about his testimony. He explains how old-fashioned police work locked up a disbarred low-country attorney.
And the man accused of shooting a high schooler pleads not guilty. The conditions the judge laid out in court this afternoon.
Our Nick Neville has been following this story for us today.
Nick, I know you spoke with the Columbia Police Chief Skip Holbrook this afternoon. What's he telling you about this?
Yes, Donnie and Billie Jean. So Chief Holbrook tells me that recruitment is not the issue, but it's been retention.
Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved, period.
Are mourning the loss of Dr. Charles Stanley, the pastor emeritus of First Baptist Church of Atlanta and the founder of In Touch Ministries.
So that was all found during a traffic safety checkpoint last Friday.
The checkpoint was on Highway 121 near Calvary Church Road. Deputies searched a white Hyundai.
All right, Vaughn, thank you. The tourist destination Ocean Boulevard brings in millions of tourists to Myrtle Beach every year, but after two recent incidents involving guns, changes may be coming to that area.
A Central Texas cheerleader is in the hospital after a shooting in Elgin, Texas last night.
Well, the man who allegedly shot a 6-year-old girl and her father over a stray ball in North Carolina now appearing before Florida court this morning. Take a look at your screen. It shows 24-year-old Louis Singletary on the podium there.
At least 26 people are dead in Mississippi and Alabama after an EF4 tornado struck there over the weekend. According to officials, that tornado was on the ground for almost an hour, making winds stronger than a Category 5 hurricane. Residents in Rolling Rock, Mississippi continue to sift through debris looking for anything that may have survived during the storm. One resident, Melinda Washington, was pulled from the rubble by her husband after the twister destroyed their home. Washington believes that she would have died if her husband had not found her.
It was like a total nightmare. It was something you'll never forget. If you ever went through it, you'll never forget that. You'll never forget this. It was a nightmare. It's a real nightmare.
And welcome back to Soda City Live. Hope you've enjoyed this day. After an eventful Grammys last night, Harry Styles has hit another home run. Over the weekend, he went back to the UK for the 2023 Brit Awards. He kicked off the show performance hits with his hit song As It Was, and even thanked fellow One Direction members. Now, his track As It Was won Song of the Year, with the full album, Harry's House, taking Album of the Year. However, the winning streak did not end there. He was then awarded Artist of the Year and Best Pop R&B Act, winning every category that he was nominated for. And while accepting his awards, he named off women who missed out on Artist of the Year. This year's nominations saw no women up for Best Artist.
All right, congratulations to him. Welcome back to Soda City Live, everyone. Can you believe it's been 60 years since the iconic band, the Beatles, released their debut album, Please Please Me? That was back in 1963. This is the same album that features hit songs like Twist and Shout, Baby Is You, and so many more hits. This was the band's first UK album and was released following the success of the singles Please Please Me and Love Me Do Over. Half of the songs on the album were written by John Lennon and Paul McCartney. It was one of the only times where they were credited as McCartney-Lennon, not the other way around. According to Lennon, the entire album was recorded in one long 12-hour session.
Well, the backwoods Barbie herself, Dolly Parton, is growing her amusement park year after year. Dollywood, located in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, has become a must-visit attraction for those visiting that area. And now, new economic developments are coming to the park and the surrounding area. Dollywood is the most visited attraction in Tennessee, bringing in 3 million guests just last year alone. It also serves the county's largest employer with serves as the largest employer there in the county, with more than 4,000 people helping to bring the charm of Dollywood to life. The park has recently announced that it will invest $500 million in the Pigeon Forge area, with developments already underway.